All right, everyone. Today we are discussing why and how you should create your very own kick-ass solo show or comedy special to be filmed. Any questions you guys have, go ahead and drop them right here in the chat. But I'm going to go ahead and answer these ones that have been already DM'd to me. Number one question I have: what are the benefits? What are the benefits of creating your very own kick-ass comedy special or solo show to be filmed? Well, here are some benefits that I have experienced personally. Number one, you get to archive your legacy, your creative legacy, global reach, passive and active incomes from filming something that lives online. Filming your special can attract offers for you, acting offers, writing offers, offers to go on a world tour, tour your show that the special's about. It can become and live as other IP, such as books, films, series for you to either act or write, act in or write. A special is a place for your material to be entertaining others online while you move on to do other projects. It's a cool thing on a resume. It's very cool to have a comedy special or a solo show, filmed or not. It's a real calling card. It also can lead to directing work, should you choose to direct yours, and consulting work. I directed mine personally, and I have since been fortunate to work a lot as a director and consultant on other specials. So these are just some of the benefits of of filming your special. Now, let's get into some of these other questions. By the way, a special these days can be an hour. It can be 90 minutes. It can also be 30 minutes. A special these days can be 10 minutes. It can be 15 minutes. So what's great about making your special or solo show in this time, unlike any other time, is that it can be any length of time that you choose. I have a client who made a 15-minute special and wanted to use it specifically to showcase their talents and abilities so they could sell their series, which they did. So in today's wild, wild west times, there is, no set time for a special unless you're partnering with a network and they have one. So that's what's exciting, is you can really think outside the box. Highlight and shadow, welcome. So let's get to this next question here. How do I turn my real life story? Okay, how do I turn my real life story into a compelling comedy show or special or series? Okay. How do I turn my real life story into a comedy special show or series? Okay. Well, I would say where you want to start is with a vomit draft. Just do a messy, shitty vomit draft, meaning just write everything you know about your story. Get it out. It could be a paragraph, it could be a page, it could be many pages. Just get it all out. Number two, get other eyes and ears on it. Show it to someone. And in doing those two things, and seeking feedback, you have done the hardest part. And now you can begin to rewrite, which I think is where the real fun begins. So, and guys, any questions, you can just drop them in the chat here. Okay, next question. What makes a one-person show truly unforgettable? Well, I would say just think about your favorite shows and movies. What makes them unforgettable? Make a list of those titles and things that you love about those projects and how do they make you feel? And then think about how you want your audience to feel from your work and how you want to feel making it, and write that out. Start there. I think what makes a show truly unforgettable is dependent on how much of you is in it. We want to know you, not some general, vague brushstroke, but like the true ins and outs of you. So lean into that. How do you turn pain, chaos, or heartbreak into something genuinely funny? Well, I would say number one, you want to heal the trauma. If there's any trauma, you want to go to professionals and heal that before you try to turn it into art. Secondly, I think the basic tools of comedy are very helpful. Point of view, premise, presence, punchlines, surprise twists, showing, not telling, acting out. We need to feel surprised and not like, okay, we know what's happening. Hi, Brian. Welcome. And go ahead, guys, drop your questions in the chat. Okay. Next question. What is the biggest mistake people make when creating a solo show? Okay. What is the biggest mistake people make when creating a solo show? Well, I think a big mistake you can make is to trauma dump for an hour. Just like in life, people get exhausted by trauma dump. They don't want to be held hostage with your trauma dump. Okay? So the stage and the page should reflect life, in that when one is sharing their story, we as the audience need some wins. We need some light, some levity, some laughs. Okay? Another common mistake, staying too general. This is a major self-sabotage on stage, okay? If you're too general, we don't know who you are or what's happening, and we cannot connect with the heart of the piece. Don't get lost in lazy generalizations. Instead, aim to get very specific about your own experience. Another way to sabotage in a solo show is speaking victimese, okay? When it's like, oh, this happened to me, and then this happened to me, and there's no sense of personal accountability or responsibility, you become an unreliable narrator as an adult, because You can't just be like constantly always having terrible stuff happening to you. I'm not speaking about children, because if something happens to you as a child, um, that is a true, victim story. And of course, horrible things happen to adults as well. But it is in the telling of it that we aim to tell it without re-traumatizing oneself or the audience, is a delicate balance of um, having, as I mentioned before, some wins, some levity, some perspective, some insights, that kind of thing. What is the secret? Is this stuff landing? How are you guys feeling about this? What's the secret to balancing comedy with emotional depth? Okay, I personally love comedy that makes you laugh, it makes you cry. Um, that's my favorite kind. So I also feel like that kind of comedy easily lends itself to becoming other IP, such as a series, a special, a movie. For myself personally, like when I have developed dialogue and characters in my stand-up or storytelling or one-person shows, they very easily translate into being filmed as series or sketches or other things, because you already know where all the laughs are before you even film it. So that, I think, is a real advantage when filming, to have had the luxury of workshopping it on stage first. Okay, so what is this next question is? Oh, oh. What? How? Oh, basically, I want to. Okay, how do you create a show that could eventually become a filmed special or TV series? Well, how do you create a show that could eventually become a filmed special or TV series? In my experience, you create it, you workshop it with a live audience, you hone and tighten it to where it's bulletproof, meaning it works in every audience every time. And then you film it. Now, this process could take less time, or it definitely could take a lot of time. So that's really dependent on many factors. I think the number one thing that's important to me is that it's your story in your voice. And I really want to see the person behind the persona. So I want to get to the truth. Um, Now, as I mentioned, I turned my first solo show into an album, and it became a web series. I later repurposed some of those same stories into my comedy special, and I workshopped this material at both storytelling shows like Sit and Spin at Comedy Central Stage, Maggie Rowe and Joey Soloway's Sit and Spin, as well as regular traditional stand-up shows. And I also booked spaces to perform my own one-person show. Now, I later repurposed these stories into my special. And to me, yeah. Did that answer that? Yeah. How do you develop a unique comedic voice instead of sounding like everyone else online? These are good questions. Okay. You need to be specific about your life, your feelings, your details, your experience. The more specific you are with your material, the less people can say, you stole it, or the less it will look and sound cliched, like something we've seen a million times before, or something that anyone generically could be saying. You don't want to be doing generic cliche comedy, okay? Maybe you're like, but wait, my life is too boring. I don't think it is. But what's great about being a comedian or a storyteller or a solo show performer is that we get to use, as I learned in college, we get to use the truth as a springboard and not an anchor, meaning we have artistic license to embellish, exaggerate, cut the dead weight, rearrange things. And that all falls under based on a true story umbrella. So that's your creative license. You don't have to. I like the saying, just because it happened doesn't make it interesting. So just because it happened doesn't make it interesting. You have creative license to move stuff around and tell the story in a way that best serves the story. Okay. If I wanted to create my dream comedy show in the next 90 days, where should I start? Well, call me, DM me. I am a comedy consultant and I'd love to help. Okay, here are some big points. Oh, and another thing that you can do, another thing that's really, really helpful is do some fun research. Go watch the greats. There are so many greats living in our town, and in our time, that you can just go to Netflix, HBO, whatever, and watch amazing comedy specials, amazing solo shows. Go watch Fleabag. Go watch, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, the film that the solo show became. Go watch Mike Birbiglia. Go watch. There's so many greats. In fact, I need to compile a list of all of my favorites. Go watch Maria Bamford. Go watch the greats. See what they're doing. Watch comedians who turn solo shows into series. Watch people who are creating digital series that are phenomenal. And see what's out there and see what you like and see how you feel when you watch it, and start to make a list of the kind of feelings you want your audience to have and emulate it. Okay, so some things that are going to be really helpful for you on your journey are to learn how to self-soothe, okay? Because there is the dark night of the soul in every performer or creator's journey where they are like, this sucks, this project sucks, I suck, I'm canceling everything, it's never going to happen. And if this hasn't happened to you yet, it probably will at a very key moment, like the night before your big performance or something. And so we need to have, as performers and creators, a toolbox to be able to self-soothe when this sets in, to be able to regulate the nervous system, to come back to the present moment and to not sabotage all of the beautiful hard work you've done. So it's like the war of art is all about avoidance and all of these little demons coming up to say, you can't do this. Why you can't, no, it's not good. This sucks. All of those little demons are going to come up. And so you need to be able to self-soothe, through those times. if you want stuff to get made. I think you also need to let it suck, like, let it be terrible, let yourself fail. That's how you get good. You have to fail a lot. Um, I also wanna bring up a good point, which is that, you know, creating your own stuff is really challenging. You need to be a self-starter. You need to keep a schedule for yourself, a creating schedule. You have to wear a lot of hats. And yet there's so many rewards to not being a pick me, basically. Like, so much of the creative industries is sitting around waiting for someone to choose you and being like, please, please choose me. Please look how good I am. Please choose me. And it just takes a lot of time and energy to do that. So people are very good at it and it's really working for them. But then just constantly being in that energy of, please choose me. And why aren't you choosing me? And why didn't you choose me? Is so, taxing and toxic on your spirit, and it takes you so far away from the joy of just actually creating things, which whatever led you to do this career. So, I would say, learning how to self-soothe and learning how to get out of pick me energy and into I'm picking me energy. I believe in me. I believe in my ideas. I'm showing up for them 1000% for me is what gives me energy, joy, and life. And, you know, the inspiration to keep going. And so how do you do that? I think people get freaked out, like, and they get into a lot of perfectionism and sabotage around, um, how am I gonna make something everybody likes, right? Like, how am I gonna, um, you're not. You're not gonna make something everyone likes. My friend who goes viral all the time said, "Going viral does not mean everybody loves it." It means, half the people love it and half the people fucking hate it, but everybody's talking about it. So, create work that creates conversation. Don't worry about what do they wanna see. Worry about what do I wanna see that doesn't currently exist in the marketplace? What lights me up? What do I need to say that nobody is currently saying? And don't worry about what they think, who's they. It helps me to talk to one person or 5 people, to talk to my best friend in the way that I would talk to my best friend, or talk to my top 5 friends the way I would talk to them about stuff that we would talk about. So if you're making stuff that feels cool to you and the people you talk to every day that you already, like, know a lot about because this is your jam, that's what I think is like, go super niche when possible. Now, of course, you will be hired to write on other people's things for other people's visions. And then it's more like, how can I just be of service to their vision? But for you yourself, like creating solo work or comedy or whatever you're making, even your online stuff, don't try to make everyone love you, because you will always be living in that what do they want dance, which is basically like almost like a trauma response, like really like a fawn response. And you want to be living in your integrity, trusting you, being on your team. Sometimes when I can't, when I can't think of who to talk to, I talk to myself like 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Like, what did she need to hear or learn? And talk to your inner child, even. What do they need to hear? I think any of that's better than trying to make something everyone likes, which is like, what even is that? Okay. Next question. I think I can take one more question. Oh. How do you create a show? Oh. How can comedians monetize their life story beyond stand-up? Books, streaming, speaking, retreats, and coaching. How can comedians monetize their story? Well, look, there is no shortage of need for your stories. People all over the world need entertainment. They need original stories. They need people to speak on topics who have the gift of speaking, writing, comedy. So build it and they will come, when you figure out what your show is about, what problem it's setting up and solving, you can reach out to places that are very specifically looking for that content. For example, if your show is about, traversing mental health challenges, surviving addiction, uh, divorce, any of these topics, eating disorders, there are places you can reach out to who have a need for content or material in these spaces. And oftentimes you can find grants, funding, engagements, and support. So, see what's out there for your topic and your material and your niche, and see what's out there and what's happening, and offer your work, to the people who can benefit the most from it. I think once you start putting your work out there too, people will find you. They will, that's been the case with me, like just putting it out there. I don't know, people have sought me out. Oh, you are in that topic. Well, I'm struggling with that. Or, assistants have reached out to me and said, we're seeking content creators on this topic that you have a series on. Or, people have reached out and said, we're putting together this tour and we see that you have a lot of, feminist, whatever it is. So lean into what you love, see what else is out there on the topic, see who's hiring those people, compile a list of your dream collaborators, compile a list of your dream places to perform, compile a list of dreams for your project and timelines, ideal timelines, and focus in on that. And put everything off for a while and just focus on that and see where that goes. And let me know how it goes. Um, I want to know what's been most helpful to you out of this stuff today. And if there's anything else I can help you with, please DM me. Thanks for joining. And our very first live, baby's first live. And that's 30 minutes. So I'm going to sign off and go to yoga. Much love. Bye.